This week on RSBANDB Update, auras are removed from RuneScape with their boosts and buffs spread through the game. Aspects raise more questions than answers, as they simply do not feel right. Should they even exist at all? Also, a preview of upcoming rendering updates. This is RSBANDB Update, episode 1085, recorded Thursday, April 16th, 2026. Ripping off the Bandaid. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of RSBANDB Update. We're on RS3 this week. As you might imagine, we got to talk about some auras that have been removed from the game, but we also have some graphical things to discuss, and that means Zant is here. Welcome back, Zant. Always good having you on.
Hello.
How are you feeling after reading the impending graphical changes on the way?
I mean, some good fixes. Nothing like earth-shattering, but yeah, it's good stuff.
Right on, right on. Also, Penance is here, everyone's second favorite Australian, to talk about, of course, the Avatar changes, but also some old school leagues. Welcome back, Pern.
Yeah, g'day all. Surprising, Pern stuck on old school, but hey.
Stranger things have happened.
That's it.
Because, old school used to be a taboo topic around these parts.
Well, it's the official private server game, and but anyway,
your comment
we'll
about RuneLite being awesome actually floored me when you said that the other day.
Hey.
Oh
my gosh!
I am shocked at RuneLite. It is ridiculous.
Well, more on that in a bit.
Cat fight going on over here.
Yeah. I don't think we've ever had that on the video before. But lo and behold,
my pick of the week.
I mean, yeah, that could be it. That could be it. But we do have an actual pick of the week for a bit later in the podcast. In the meantime, though, big huge thank you goes out to our experienced here Patreon members for whom without update would not be possible. That includes Amos Reed, Bladecom, Dominic R., Jade Gizmo, Jason S., Jesse W., Julia W., Kesky, Lemon Lodge, Luminos, Ricky A., Sioasis, Smavin, Snail Mage, The Naked Captain, and Tim. You'll hear more about our Patreon offerings a little bit later in the podcast, but of course, in the meantime, if you want to follow along, full show notes can be found over at update.show. The Friends chat can be found in-game at BitsBytes, and of course, the community Discord is over at update.show/Discord. Okie dokie. Auras have been removed from the game as we were told they were going to be as part of the road to restoration. How are we feeling with this one? Because I know there was some, general comments in the community this week about whether or not, they hit the mark, and we'll get into some of those finer grained points. But overall, how do we feel about auras effectively being unencumbered, I guess is what I would say.
Mixed feelings.
Okay. All right. Zan?
I'd say about the same. It's good to finally see them go. I mean, like having Penance and Vampyrism up until now for the past, month or so. I mean, it was still something, and now that they're just kind of gone. There's nothing really time gaining you at all like that with PVM whatsoever.
Yeah, and like I said, when 120 Magic came out, that was something that was legitimately holding me back from training, is because I would go to the abyssal creatures in the wilderness, and it would be based on, when the aura can be run and when the aura can be reset, and then after that, let's just go and do something else because the aura's down, so there's no point in, doing that, because that's how I would recharge my prayer points there. So that was something that was definitely a factor.
Didn't have the ectoplasmator?
No.
Ah, okay.
Why? What would that?
Well, yeah, ectoplasmator. You put it in your pocket
because that's
slot,
Bone Crusher, but for ashes, right?
For ashes, correct. Yeah, so that's what I always use when I go there.
Right, and then you can pair that with the necklace from Daemonheim that gives you prayer points.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I always forget about those little interactions like that. I wonder how that stacks up when doing abyssals, like the higher level abyssals.
With beasts and the savages, fine. I haven't done it at Lords yet, but at those two, keeps it up, no worries at all. And that's it. Penance, I mean, really, Penance detracted from things like Bone Crusher and Direct Plasmator, so I think that one's okay. Vampyrism, I'm not so happy about going. That was just a nice little thing. They were talking about making the Scrimshaw of Vampyrism to be used
For all
on
styles, yeah.
styles. That was the way I was hoping that they would go, rather than a prayer. So,
but I mean, we already have this thing here, the Powder of Penance.
Is it a prayer or is it more like I thought it was more like a spell.
Sorry, it's on the ancient spells.
It's an aspect.
Yes,
we'll get
an aspect.
Whatever that's supposed to mean.
Okay,
it's on the ancient spell book, and they put Penance on the normal spell book. But again, it's like
we have the technology. It's called spell book.
Yeah, but it's like it's every 12 minutes, and it only
that's what I find
gives
annoying
you 50
about
points.
Like
Exactly.
that basically just means you have to carry around another rune pouch with you to cast it every 12 minutes, or bank every 12 minutes or something like that. Like
that's it. So
or just bring the spellbook swap runes in addition to the aspect runes.
Yeah, that's just I just don't care at that point. Like screw it. No extra boost like that. Like I'm fine.
So I just want to.
Oh well, I've basically given up on it.
I just want to take one step backwards here, for a minute about the summary on this, because it comes back to what they talked about in the Road to Restoration blog, in that the goal is a game that's easy to understand with meaningful choice and depth. So I guess we're leaning into the aspects being another choice there. You play because it's fun, not because you feel like you have to. Again, leaning into that time aspect of the aspects. Oh, that's a mouthful. When you want to play no matter what, if you have cooldowns or not, and then a meaningful journey no matter where you start. And they say it comes down to removing the need to play certain content in certain windows, removing the player-to-player imbalance created by multiple aura tiers that were previously time-gated by membership tenure. That wasn't a problem, was it?
Not at this stage. I think 99% of people already had those ones unlocked. And the thing with them, you could unlock them at War's Retreat.
Yeah.
They were on the War's
in
Retreat
principle,
store.
It's a problem.
So let's just...
functionally, most people had the points for it, but in principle, it's kind of
right,
not
because if we game this out to a point that, we have a brand new character who is just starting to play and has membership, they're going to get a certain number of loyalty points per month, and they could have, chose to purchase the farming aura or the penance aura instead with the loyalty points, which takes time. Whereas now you hit the specified magic level or you farm enough herbs, you can just have those benefits. And I think that's what they're going with there. And this requires this operates on the assumption that there's going to be new players coming into the game that would not be able to effectively get these immediately upon getting the levels of unlocking that content, if that makes sense for that. So from that angle, I can see
to
it.
a degree.
Yeah, but to a degree, that's true. But on the other side of it, I think pretty much every other player who has been around the block for a while, you have to make that. This felt like kind of a hard sell, if I'm being honest, because we don't necessarily, see the gates of Lumbridge bursting with new players here at this point yet. I don't think.
Exactly.
But,
and even though, they're still time gated. I mean, you have to get those levels to get it up, and like even the farming one, you have to make sure that
that's
you
lots
are
of
doing.
Herbs.
That's a hell of a lot of herbs. That's a hell of a, and all the other unlocks that are there. It's like, I mean, it's okay for us. We all had the legendary auras, so we get it unlocked automatically. But I would love to see someone with a new account to see how long it does take for them to go through and unlock it. And that's something I should have looked up on my on the GIM account to see how many points away I am at 100 and. I'm 100 and I think I'm 104 farming.
Yeah, but you don't.
And
farm
I still haven't got enough points to
often,
unlock it.
Do you?
No, I do the herbs when I'm doing herbs again now because I need to get 120 or 119 herb law. But yeah, the 99% of that was done through the animals.
Yeah,
Which again, just people, unless you need the herbs, your farming training is through the farm. And I maintain that the farm should have been the 99 to 120 method,
yeah.
and up to 99 should have been proper, well, the old style. But anyway, too late for all that now.
Yeah, and I mean, I shut down my farm on the game this week. This is a side note. I shut down my farm on the game this week. If we need products, I'll put the animals back in. But I haven't done any real farming in so long that I made the decision I'm doing 119 to 120 the old-fashioned way.
Yeah,
just because it's not farming, and people would be surprised to know this. I am doing more dailies over the last 2.5 weeks than I was before the daily scape removal, with the farms and the Easter event and daily challenges for combat and whatnot. And I just don't want to be doing that, so I cut the farm out, and I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. That's kind of beside the point here, but it's just something that's just bothered me so much in that regard. Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about the aspects specifically for Penance and Vampirism. We'll discuss the skilling auras in a little bit, but I wanted to talk about these first because I think that this discussion about these are very important to have, because they did surface a thread on the subreddit that came up and was addressed by Mod Anvil, community manager. So first, for anybody wondering what is classed as an aspect, is these are effectively temporary auras that are put on your character by a spell or incantation. The ones that existed previously included Darkness from Necromancy, Animate Dead from the Ancient Spellbook, and Temporal Anomaly from the Standard Spellbook. Now, Vampirism will be available in the Ancient Spellbook at 69 magic for 15 bloods, 10 deaths, 6 soul, and 4 fire runes every 12 minutes. And the Penance aspect will be available on the Standard Spellbook at level 67 for 3 law, 30 body, 10 soul, and 20 chaos runes for a similarly amount of time of 20 minutes in that case. So that is what an aspect is for anybody who was wondering. And I think another thing that was coming up in the discussion here amongst some of the, I'll say, higher leveled people, is that there was the question of, well, what about those of us who would want to, say, run Darkness or Animate Dead plus Penance, or effectively mix and match the aspects. And previously that wasn't a problem because Vampirism and Penance were on their own as auras, and you could run them on top. And one of the easiest ways to get the Zuck Cape in the game is actually to do a magic tank setup with Animate Dead and the Penance aura. That is by far the easiest setup to use to get your first Zuck Cape. And you can't do that anymore, because you have to choose between running Penance or Animate Dead.
Yep.
And if you aren't going to be running Penance, then you got to bring in enough prayer potions, unless you have a Blessed Flask. But, for somebody going for their first Zuck Cape and getting it to PVM, you might not have the Blessed Flask there. So it does, in that regard, make the choice around that PVM angle a little bit more difficult there. That's the use case that came on from my perspective. Are there any use cases for either of you that come up when looking at juggling multiple aspects?
Oh, exactly the same thing. And Vampirism, it only gives you 50 life points a hit maximum. So it wasn't, it was not a lot, but it just at some high level Slayer creatures and some of the sort of bosses. I mean, it was just enough to just maintain your life there to be able to cope with things. And not so much that it's a rune cost, but it's only every 12 minutes. It's something else now that you have to be watching. And I mean, when they took it off, I mean, I still had over 50 aura refreshes.
Bye. They're gone.
Yeah, exactly. I never bought one. They were just ones that I'd got off all the different things. I mean, you win them in games. Sometimes they would drop.
But the logic is that you don't
things.
need them anymore because auras are gone. So
well, exactly. But that's the thing. I mean, Vampirism and Penance were in War's Retreat. They were in the shop there, so they were open to anyone at any level. Once you got enough points up to buy them.
I'm going to raise you one on this, though, Pern. What's the point of the War's Retreat unlocks now, aside from life refreshes and bonfire upgrades? What's the point of
There's War's Retreat shoppers basically, That's what I was going to say.
One page that's literally just life refreshes now.
Yeah, because that was always aura refreshes. I mean, I know people who are doing their things and just buying aura refreshes. So the aura, I mean, yes, auras on them. The majority of auras with the 1 hour, and for me it was great because I get bored doing things. So 1 hour, now I can go do something else. So the 1 hour thing on that was good for me because I would get bored and such. But not for someone who just wanted to sit there and camp for seven hours. But that was the beauty of those being in War's Retreat is you don't like it, just buy a bunch of refreshers, bang, click, refresh. They were in the menu. You could do it while you were fighting anyway. Step out of the PVM area, click, refresh, bang, go back in, do it. Now, as you said, you've got to choose between Vampirism and Penance. You've got to choose between spell books. You've got to carry,
spell book swap
that's
runes.
another. Yep, you've got to carry runes to cast them. It's every 12 minutes. It's.
And I will make a point that high-level PVM does carry spellbook swap runes specifically for Disruption, Shield, and Vengeance.
Yeah, but for the average player like myself.
Average. I want to talk about what Mod Anvil had to say here in regards to multicasting aspects. He did say that, the idea that players could cast the aspect multiple times and extend its effect rather than needing to cast it every 12 minutes is something that they're looking at, so you could effectively stack it before you get to what you're doing for combat. This is something that they're looking into, but it can pose its own problems. So the solution was proposed for these aspects of Vampirism and Penance, but it would naturally have to extend to all aspect spells in order to maintain consistency. And then once they make such a change and move certain features away from the historical 6 or 12-minute timers, you need to start looking at the game-wide picture again to maintain consistency. So in short, it's a change that has wider ramifications than at first may be apparent. And the other thing they're considering is swapping Penance to the Ancient spellbook, and they had put them on their current spellbook for thematic reasons because Vampirism felt like an ancient spell, whereas Penance felt like it would be suited for the standard spellbook.
And there again, they've locked it behind a high-level quest. Ancient spellbook.
Desert Treasure.
You have to go through the Desert Treasure. Now, great. For me, fantastic. I love quests, so I don't mind that. But, you're now telling all these people who just want to come in PVM, knock out the quests that they need to do, go into their PVM. Someone like Tannis, who struggles with a lot of the quests because of the way they are, is not going to have access to those type of things. So, I don't know. I mean, I understand the reason for it.
But the thing is that we were not sold on this vision and, weren't told that this was going to be part of it when these sort of things happened. And you can kind of point the picture and say, well, this is, kind of how old school goes. If you don't have the ability to do the quest, you don't get the reward, you don't get the item, you don't get the area unlocked, sort of thing. They also addressed.
But it's.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, but it's something that we've had in game for 10, 15 years now, and now you're taking it off people. It's not like old school where you've never had it. this is something that a lot of players have just built up their game around and around using and such. So, and then you've just taken it away from them.
Yeah.
You know, call me crazy, but I'm honestly of the opinion at this point that maybe Vampirism and Penance should have just gone. Like,
I'm not
seriously,
laughing at, I'm not
I'm
laughing
just,
at you or the opinion.
No,
I'm
and
laughing
that's
because
it
I wanted to
because
go there.
well, this solution that we have here with the aspects just feels like, honestly, just some
putting a Bandaid on
half.
a chainsaw wound.
I'm trying to be very nice with the words I'm saying, but yes,
Very
it's
half-assed.
softening
Yeah.
a blow of taking this stuff away,
Yep.
where in reality, it's making it more difficult for the people who would actually just use this stuff to begin with. Because if the goal with the Aura rework at all is to just improve the experience of doing content in RuneScape and deciding when you can do that and how that lines up with other players, this kind of isn't much better of an experience. Like, yes, on paper it is better because you don't have these hour chunks that you have to line up with other people to do like group content and such, but who wants to cast a spell every 12 minutes? It just it's replacing the old system with a new system that is effectively kind of the same thing-ish.
Yeah.
And you know, it's definitely not the same for like the skilling aura effects we have now. Those seem to be just like kind of a passive you get, which that seems way more fine than, you know, basically functionally replacing the aura with another aura that's just in a spell book.
And let us not forget that if you die when an aspect is active, you have to recast that. I can't tell you the number of times I've gone into PVM forgetting to recast either Darkness or Animate Dead.
Yeah.
The other thing people
Now, see,
were asking,
I don't know what to. In an ideal world, I can't figure out what we would do with those. Like, were those considered an aspect before this, or
Yes.
is that were they
Yes.
kind of just considered?
yeah,
Yeah.
Animate
So
Dead,
that is
Darkness,
kind of
and
a
system
Temporal
that-
Anomaly.
Yeah, when they did the changes, they put them on as aspects.
Okay, interesting.
But
Because
again,
as it was, you couldn't double dip between Temporal Anomaly, Darkness, and Animate Dead. You had to pick one.
Yeah, just adding penance and vampirism into that that seems to complicate things a lot.
Yeah, and that's why people were asking for aspect stacking, with the idea of asking to be able to stack vampirism with other aspects such as darkness. The reasons they decided against this are twofold. The first is that the idea of aspects is that they should be able to offer powerful at the effects at the cost of being one aspect at a time. So double dipping into aspects is a risky design area that can quickly slip into unmitigated power creep, because then you would then have to say, well, if you can, stack penance and vampirism together, why can't you put darkness and temporal anomaly together? Or temporal anomaly.
But that's the thing, though. But we've always been able to do vampirism and animate dead, or vampirism and that, because it was on an aura. And that's why I think if they had have shifted it to the original way they were talking of the vampirism scrimshaw being being available for all styles rather than just melee, would have been a better one. And that again is something
That would definitely help.
you could then add charges for that on War's Retreat and make War's Retreat's points. Again, you can charge up a vampirism.
You just
scrimshaw.
do that, and then you buff powder Penance.
I'd sacrifice having a good book to just have vampirism for a chill Reaper task or something.
I use my vampirism auras they're fantastic for a lot of those higher end Slayer tasks where you don't want to have to worry about it. Just bang, throw that on when you're meleeing, and you don't have to worry about anything. Especially the superior one where it goes for 4 hours, and you can load them up to 24 hours. But I just think the way they went was not the ideal way, and I think it's going to hurt more people or upset more people than it's going to make people happy.
And they said that any feasible solution would introduce inconsistency at a time where they are working towards smoothing the inconsistency wrinkles from the game. The last thing they want to do is make a change that introduces more inconsistency.
But
I think they should have
Scrimshaw,
just ripped off the Bandaid.
but Scrimshaws aren't an inconsistency. They're already there. So all you're doing is widening it from melee only to work on all of them, and then people have a choice. Do you want your book for the extra power? Do you want your vampirism aura for the life points? That is giving people a proper choice there. It is still allowing people, if they want to run those spells and have their vampirism going. I don't know. I mean, to me, it was the wrong way to do it.
Yeah,
And I
they
think,
said
as I said, it's gonna upset more people than it's gonna satisfy people.
they want to review the impact of these changes on the live game, and they said that perhaps creating an inconsistency may be what's best, even though we'd really prefer not to do so. Alternatively, they may consider buffing vampirism to reduce the perceived need to stack it with other aspects. This, however, produces its own question, especially around how much is not enough or too much of a buff.
And that's what I mean. 50 points, it's not a lot, but it just maintains, and that's fine. Yeah, 50 points per hit. So, but, it's when I've got to, that's another thing now got to do every 12 minutes. I've got to do that. For people who just want to have that chill
I'm
game
just not
aspect
doing that every 12 minutes.
No, neither am
I'm
I.
just not going to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, we talked about maybe having some form of food that would do that, or some kind of prayer potion that would do that. But, based on these discussions, my preferred choice would be to buff the Vampirism Scrimshaw, like Pern mentioned. And for me, for Penance, just buff the Powder of Penance to be what the Penance aura is.
Which is also, the Powder of Penance is also a tradable item. The basic Scrimshaw is a tradable item. The superior one isn't, but
it gives a reason to do ports.
Exactly, and it also, as I said, it also gives you an option of adding charges or something through your War's Retreat that makes those points valid again. Because, life refreshers, yeah, I suppose high-end PVMers probably use them a lot. Maybe Iron Men can use them, can't they?
Yeah.
So if you have your defense cape that does it, you can use that again.
If I'm trying to do any meaningful PVM, I will, immediately reset that sign if it signs. If I have it in my bank, or just buy the resets, I will do that.
Yeah. I don't. With the cost of death these days, I don't even bother. I'll just take the death and pay my 20,000 GP and go back.
And this all angles towards that other point that we talked about with the POH rework in the summer. Are they angling at a point where there's no use aside from the portals in War's Retreat and the community area? If you look at the usefulness of Marks of War after this week, are they angling to remove War's Retreat? I need Avernix tinfoil hat.
Well, they'd probably have to. They'd probably have to, because, as we said, what does War's Retreat give you now in points other than unlocking an extra portal, and
Adren Crystal, the prayer thing? But those are all one-time unlocks, right? So
yeah, exactly.
So your only thing you can buy now, if you I think this is the case, is the life refreshes, but that's a topic for another day. Even
those Adren crystals, yeah, they're good for lower end, but once you have the persistent rage, I think most PVMers just run persistent rage relic anyway.
Not at the high end.
Oh, okay.
No.
What, do they jump out every kill, do they, to charge it up? And
yeah. You charge your adrenaline up every time you go into the portal. There's also the pre-build stuff you can do at that point as well.
Just so you leave after every kill, charge up, go back.
Well, you're dealing with you're dealing with bosses that are at the point of needing to do that. We're talking like things like Raksha and whatnot, right? So
fair enough. Yeah,
you guys are gonna hear system sounds for a minute. Just don't Just don't get
Don't
alarmed.
panic.
Penance and I'm just going to War's Retreat to pull up the store for that angle, and it's not muted. Oh, it is
That's
muted.
okay.
Perfect.
I'm not going to be sitting there going, "Hang on, what's happening on my computer?" This is looking for something that just popped up.
Yeah. No, but I mean, when you look at everything that's here in the store, it is, the one-time unlocks here that you have on this page. And then consumables is just life refresh.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
wow.
It's pathetic looking. It's kind of a funny screen right there.
I mean, yeah. Well, hey, I never liked War's Retreat anyway. I always said they killed the Max Guild with that. So, hey, yeah.
I mean, and I don't think there's necessarily a problem with all the rewards from something like this just being upgrades to the thing. I don't think that's necessarily a problem. But this did have like external rewards that weren't just upgrades to War's Retreat before, and it's just kind of gone now.
And again, isn't a life refresh something that come originally from microtransactions?
Yeah.
Wasn't it an original treasure hunter? So why
I'm honestly
are all the
surprised
rest
we still
taken
have
off,
them.
but that one's not there?
Yeah, why do we still have
also,
that?
it just occurs to me that I never upgraded my campfire to Eternal Magic.
No, I haven't either.
But how does that make sense that they're getting rid of everything else, but we don't do anything about life refreshes because
we're too used to it.
We're too used to vampirism. We're too used to penance. But that is more
That's
than
what I'm saying.
here.
Rip off the Bandaid. Just get rid of it.
But those life refreshers, I think, are mainly used by the highest level of PVMers. So
that's correct.
So we leave those that for that 2 or 3%, but screw everyone else. That's what that feels like to me.
Well, but they're also a good learning tool, right?
Yeah, but again,
it
is a
at the
treasure
same time,
hunter item, and they've taken all other treasure hunter items. They've taken all other microtransaction
2,500
items off.
marks of war. You used to cap at 1,000 per hour that you could earn.
Yeah, that's okay. But what I'm saying, they've taken every other thing that has been introduced through treasure hunter or microtransactions except that one item. Why?
Maybe War's Retreat is getting removed with the POH update.
It's just so interesting to see when we're trying to remove all these old, poorly designed systems that kind of have monetization in mind, how much pain we have to go through to do it.
And that has been my entire thing since January. I like the idea of removing Treasure Hunter. It felt pure. But I have not felt as much pain in my day-to-day gameplay on RS3 that I have in the last 3 months since the Hero Pass debacle. Really. And granted,
it's a really hard thing where you kind of have to look at it through more of a year-long outlook, but
I like my entitlements. I really do. But I get why this needs to be done.
Yeah.
What a mess. What a mess this is. But I'm going to thank some Patreon supporters.
I don't know how this was going to work out any other way, to be honest. I mean, that's kind of my point with those systems that we're having to dismantle with this kind of massive change to the game. It's just not going to be clean.
Well, let's wait and see if the skilling ones are any smoother, right? Will they be? I don't know. Maybe. This week, RSBANDBUpdate is brought to you by the wonderful Patreon supporters Alvaro L, Amos Reed, Arvids L, Bladecom, Chilbura, Dominic R, Duramax, Forceful Turd, Gila Fleur, Imperialis, Jay Gizmo, Jason S, Jesse W, Julia W, Keski, Lemon Lodge, Luminos, Mattman, Mighty Myth, Michelle M, Mike Wings, Mongrath, Pernasius, Ricky A, Robbie D, Samuel FL, Sanguine RX, Scott DS, Shirt Pants, Sioaces, Smavid, Snail Mage, Tabby, The Naked Captain, The Dabbing Goat, Tim, Ukulele Steve, Woody, Zant, and Zazakon. Thank you so much, everybody. You let us do this show each and every week. It means the world to us. Without you guys, we would not be here. We would not be here doing this show. It means a lot to us. If you want to check us out, head on over to patreon.com/RSBNB. We have 3 tiers of support available presently there right now, starting for as little as $1 a month. You'll get a thank you in our show notes, access to the full monthly bit library of 93 plus monthly bits, including our most recent one on completionism, and of course voting rights on the upcoming monthly bit topic. That poll will be out by the time you guys are hearing this podcast, so if you want to vote in the next one, you want to get access to any of the past ones that we've done, Quest tier list, Dailyscape tier list when that was a thing, Legacy Combat, so many more. Patreon.com/RSBNB, $1 a month. Then we have our community tier where for $3 a month you'll be getting a special rank on Discord and chat channel access, plus a monthly shout out on the show at the top of the month and high quality stereo versions of the show as well. Then for $5 a month you'll receive a weekly shout out on the show and access to our expanded clip archive and outtakes that we use to make the clip show at the end of the year. So if any of this sounds interesting to you, or you just want to support your favorite podcast, head on over to patreon.com/RSBNB. Check out the monthly bits, vote in the monthly bit topic, or just support your favorite podcast. But nonetheless, a big, huge thank you to everybody who has chosen to support the show. It means the world to us. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
All right. So you guys think it's going to be this bad for skilling, or this painful for skilling?
No, skilling, I think they did pretty well on what they did for skilling.
Yeah, I think the more passive approach definitely works a lot better.
Yeah, and I actually want to, speaking of passives, I want to mention something that was done as a result of this week with this update. The Might of Het boost has been added to the Totem of Vitality, which has replaced the Totem of Auras. This buff will continue to buff your max life points by 25% in the same way that it functioned before. And as an added bonus, they have updated the Anachronia totem system. Gone are the days of charging the totems, and the weekly lockout has also been removed. You can now swap them around to your heart's content. The Remototem will allow you to change totems remotely from the base camp, and these changes should make it much easier to have this boost up whenever you want to dive into BVM.
That is so good.
Yeah,
because it was a pain to run out to those areas to swap. I mean, I'd sit there going, I need to swap. Screw that. And I just leave it. So being able to do it via the Remototem is, I mean, that's probably one of the best moves they've made in this whole thing. This is probably
so far the best quality of life update this year so far.
Yes. Yeah. And putting, obviously they had to replace the Totem of Auras, making the Might of Het. I didn't even think of that, so it made sense when they announced that. I thought, that's a good idea. And but being able to swap them around like that, fantastic, and well done on this side of things.
And it's all about these little quality of life things. I think they're like the cherries on top that make these updates sing.
Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead and call this the Star of the Week.
Yep.
But let's talk about some of the skilling auras and changes that were made to that in particular. And at the top of the angle, they went with green fingers. For 30k Cruxical favor, you get that same buff that the green fingers aura gave, except it's only 7%, not 15%.
Yep.
And if you had green fingers tier 3 or higher unlocked, this will be automatically unlocked for you. I'm not going to complain about that. I'm not. I'm just going to complain
about... I think that's a pretty good concession, to be honest.
I'm just going to complain about one side of it. I know plenty of people out there, plenty of people who listen to this show, who did not have all the auras bought and had loyalty points sitting, who did not get to execute on that before this week's update. It would have been good for this one and the other ones that they pre-unlocked to have that carried forward. Or not carried forward, just have that announced beforehand so people could go and buy Master Green Fingers Tier 3 if they wanted to have this unlocked, rather than just being caught out in the woods this week needing to go farm an additional 30k Cruxical favor, which is quite a bit. quite a bit when you think about it.
I thought they did announce that if you did have them, they would do.
I went back on the news post and I couldn't see it.
Okay. Or maybe I just assumed that that was what they were going to do. But yeah,
It seems like it would have been, yeah. Sorry.
I mean, I had virtually everything unlocked except a few of the things like Oddball and that type, a few of those.
Yeah. Like, that's my only real complaint with these.
Yeah. It seems like it would have been really nice if they at least gave us like 2 or 3 more weeks from this point on to purchase them.
Yeah, you've got loyalty points sitting there. You have this month to unlock those things. So you
even
can
if
get
it was just 2 weeks
spending...
ago, that would have been good. Like give like a 2-week notice.
That's it.
Because we knew this was coming with the month ahead.
Yeah, I had nearly 3 million loyalty points still, because you get all those bonuses with the Premier Club, and I'd unlocked everything I wanted. So it didn't affect me at all, taking them away. But I know a lot of people who had well over 1 million who could have made use of that rather than having to do it this way. So again, I think they threw the baby out with the bathwater on that one.
Focus siphoning. This one has been put in the RuneSpan shop. If you already had tier 3 or higher of that was automatically unlocked for you. I know.
20,000.
I know. RuneSpan is a sore spot.
Ouch.
I don't remember if I have that one unlocked yet or not.
I'm scared to look. I'm
saying that's a lot.
I'm so glad I'd unlocked legendaries on everything.
These aren't Comprex, are they?
That is a lot of points.
I don't know. 5-finger discount. I know I have this one. If you had previously had 5-finger of any tier, you'll automatically unlock the bonus, and this one went to the Thieves Guild.
Yeah, that made sense.
Yeah.
Pilfer points now obtainable through heists as well. So again, that's not going to hurt as much.
That's not that bad.
And the previous one,
good.
The RuneSpan one, I just read they've doubled the points you earn now. So again, they have helped you out a little bit, but still 20,000
with the daily escape reduction.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of points.
It is.
Enrichment has been distributed into divination. At 39, 59, 79, and 99 divination, the chance to just obtain an enriched memory goes up.
Yeah, well, that was just a nice little thing. Yeah, that didn't give you a lot, but it was nice. So that makes sense the way they did that.
Same thing with tracker.
That's a really clean way to implement it
game
too.
Balance, early game rebalance pass through all hunter creatures.
Yep.
See, these are nice ways to implement it, where it just kind of becomes part of the skill in a natural way.
Fishing, though. The fishing familiars, the granite crab, the ibis, and the granite lobster, all now give catch rate boosts. So you're going to want to have one of those out, for sure. And the various fishing tools have now been improved to offer catch chance bonuses. So much so that the Rotomatic gets a 3% buff, the Enhanced Rotomatic gets 4, and previously they had 0 on these ones. The Dragon Harpoon gives a whopping 9% catch chance buff, and yes, the Dragon Harpoon is augmentable. Crystal Rod is 8%, and Tavia's Rod is 14%, and the Perfect Juju Fishing Potion now offers a 10% catch boost. That's an interesting set of stacking buffs when you look at, just general fishing across the entire world.
They may be a little too powerful, but I'm not going to complain because fishing is one of the slowest skills.
Right,
so.
and consider how we train fishing. We largely train fishing through fish that we don't want. Whereas if we can get catch buffs on things we do want, like rocktails and blubbers, we're more likely to use those.
Yep.
Has there been this much of a push to use specific equipment when fishing before?
No.
Like different rods?
It is all new.
That's kind of interesting and
It
cool.
is all new since the Dragon Harpoon came out last December. That's when they started doing that. Yeah. Lumberjack.
My cat had some things to say about that.
Oh, I didn't see what happened.
He just walked behind me and meowed when I was in the middle of talking about that.
For wood cutting, Mithril to Rune gives a plus 5% chance of chopping wood successfully. Orichalcum to Bane is 10%, and Encamdo or higher is 15%. And this is further improved by woodcutting, meaning that over-leveling trees will feel more powerful. So, chopping a yew tree with a Necronium hatchet at both level 70, at level 70 you're now 5% more likely to chop wood, which increases to 6% at level 110. So there's boosts and buffs across the entire space for that one.
Boofs.
Yeah. They heard us on the mining critical chance. They built in an additional 5% crit chance at 59 and another at 85. Nothing to write home about there.
Again, what I find funny there, they didn't tie it into your pickaxes like they did with the lumberjack. You know, give you that extra crit chance per pickaxe level. But anyway,
I think the thing is, when you look at that, the pickaxes already do so much.
Yeah, true.
Resourceful. This was not on the table initially. The previous aura offered a chance to either not deplete a woodcutting or excavation resource and increase geode chances while mining, and provided a chance to mine additional red or crystal flex sandstone. Since sandstones were updated to no longer have a daily cap, that effect was no longer required. The other effect of improving consistency in material caches is something they didn't want to lose. So, now you cannot expire a material cache on the first 2 gathers from it, which should improve the consistency of gathering from material caches in general.
And that's good, because sometimes you'll sit there, you click it, hit it once, it's done. Like the bugger, you got to move again, and when you're sort of rotating between them, then sometimes you've got to hop worlds because it's going to take 5 or 6 minutes before it charges up again. So I like that one.
Yeah. Daemonheim was just made a passive across the Daemonheim dungeoneering whenever you do a dungeon based on how much you have done at your level. And this raises, just I think a general question to have here. Are these changes too powerful this week?
I think it's a mixed bag.
There are a couple that sort of seem a little powerful, but are probably necessary, as I said, like the fishing one. But it is still a good one. I don't think any of the rest are
because it's like
overpowered.
No, it's that question.
I think they've moved it into the right way in that it's part of gameplay, and as you level up, your chances get better and things like that. I think on the skilling side, I think they really did a very good job there.
Yeah.
Or do you just rip the Band-Aid off and just remove it all?
I think for things
like, do you just rip the Band-Aid off and remove it all?
Well, again, and
that's hard. Like, that's what happens when we get into the situation where we've had these systems for years and years and years, and we need to go back on it. Like, how far can we go back?
But that again,
can we fully go back?
That comes into
this isn't fully going back.
That comes into things like refund. Like, I've paid for these items, now you're just going to take them off me. This way,
it's completely fair.
Yeah, this way they're saying, well, hey. Yeah, you paid for them, but now we're putting them into game. So we haven't removed them from you, so we don't have to do refunds and things like that on anything or make good. I mean, obviously you can't refund
refund loyalty points or money a decade later.
Exactly. So I think by doing it this way, they've negated that argument that I want a refund on all these things because you've taken it off me because it's still there on the majority of things. So
I think wish the implementation could have been a bit more consistent.
Yeah.
Like
again, skilling, perfect. You did it well. Vampirism and Penance, you left a lot to be desired. They did a Dexter.
Yeah, I think functionally they needed to at least make these somewhat easier to use and, less time gatey feeling to your content than auras. But the 12 minutes for the aspects, that feels worse, I think. So I don't know what the idea with that was, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I have a cat now, honestly.
Kitty wants some love. But yeah, I mean, as you said, it's like, yeah, they just, as I said, they did a Dexter. I mean, anyone who's watched Dexter at the end of the series, like, you could have gone this way, you could have gone this way. Either way would have been good, but we decided we'll just do something up here that just screwed up the whole thing. And
they didn't need to make him abandon his child.
Exactly, and go off.
I feel like I've been noticing the same thing about almost every episode I've been on about the Road to Restoration stuff, is that we're promised to go like this full commit, like we're removing this stuff, but we land somewhere like
we just
60 to 70% of the way there.
Yeah.
When in reality, like, I think just cutting a lot of this stuff would hurt at first, but it'd be good for the game in the long run. But there is that valid argument about, are you actually removing value by removing this stuff? Because, like, literally auras came in as a thing that was part of membership loyalty.
Exactly.
So there's just so many ways that this kind of situation is just not easy to approach.
No.
And I commend them for approaching it and doing it, because I can't imagine how this would have gone over cleanly. Just this whole Road to Restoration thing as a whole.
But as we said, passives are fine.
Yeah.
The way they did the skilling is fine.
I was even saying, like, certain ways they worked in, like, what was the one that it actually works into, like, the skill tree? I can't remember which skill it was, but actually works into, like, your level ups.
Yeah,
and it's just a passive.
Not the
wood cutting. Yeah, like, I love that. That's such a nice and clean way to work that in. That feels like it's just part of the game. It doesn't feel like we're just having to...
The divination one. Level 39, 2%, level 59, 4%.
Yeah, that was it.
The divination one. That was the one enrichment. Yeah, that was a nice way of doing it. Yeah.
I was thinking rune crafting for a second, but I knew it wasn't that.
I'll also point out that RuneScape is an inelastic good, which means that even as the price goes up or the perceived value of it changes to be more or less depending on things they do in game, you can't find anything like RuneScape elsewhere. RS3 is an inelastic good. OSRS is an even more inelastic good. And going back to just use the membership price changes as an example, people aren't going to quit because of that pricing increase change. They might say they are, but I don't think we're going to see too much of a downturn, if anything, come next year on that. And that's the same sort of thing that they could have taken here, is that, yeah, it might, hurt if you rip that Bandaid off.
Oh, yeah.
Just for a little bit. But people are still going to play your game. You just got to have something that is a consistent offering. And I think the inconsistency, especially on the aspects here, is the thing that's hurting this update.
Yeah, so, if they had to just turn around and say, we're taking them out completely, you've got your Vampirism, so you've got your Bone Crusher and your Ectoplasmator, you've got your Penance of Powder, Vampirism, yeah, it was a nice little quality of life thing, but it wasn't an important thing. Animate Dead does the same type of thing. Scrimshaw does the same type of thing for Melee. I don't think Range has anything that does a life boost, but they could have done something or a refresh there. But I mean, overall, it was good. But it just seems that by doing the Vampirism Penance the way they did, they hurt themselves, especially when they leave life refreshers in the shop. That just seemed, I'm sitting there going, hang on a sec, why? That just makes no sense whatsoever to me, other than the fact that a lot of your high-end PVMers and streamers use those, so they didn't want to upset that community. That's how it feels to me. They're pandering to that subset there.
Could be. It could be. But I mean, hey,
and again, that could be me being a conspiracy theorist, but I think it's more a conspiracy factualist.
yeah. Well, there you go. Um, that's the case for removing auras entirely. Rip the Band-Aid off.
Yep.
But let's get into some of the other restoration stuff that is coming soon. And they surprised us last week with this one. It is a discussion on changing how the game renders itself to the point of, I guess, like, I don't even know how to describe what's happening in these two screenshots in the header of this news post. Like, how would you describe what's happening here?
So it looks to me like they're trying to make things like our player characters and objects in the environment more fit the lighting of the actual scene that they're sitting within. Because doing this in the kind of game like RuneScape that, isn't using something like ray tracing, it's kind of these all approximations with several different like tricks to kind of make the lighting look right. But I think with RuneScape, they've gotten away with this way more recently than other games because it's only been until like the past couple 3-4 years that RuneScape has even had more materials on the characters beyond just kind of like flat color. We're starting to get into things like metals and things like glossiness and things of that nature.
Vegetable
that actually
textures.
Yeah, and it's not just everything is a flat color now. Like even things like the carrot, for example, like it has a level of roughness to it that determines how much light bounces off of it. So, you could have something the difference between like a plastic toy ball and, like a plastic opaque kind of near fuzzy ball that doesn't have much light bouncing off of it. And that's a difference that RuneScape used to not be able to have within within its like models. So that the result is we have metallics and things that can be shiny, and it's meaning we're needing a way to actually reflect what's in the environment onto these shiny materials so they look correct like this.
It's very
And
apparent on this
actually,
Zorosian armor here.
Yeah, is that the one that is which is one's the Zorosian one? Is that the first one?
No, the second one.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's a really good example. And basically what we're seeing here is um this is kind of an extension of a patch that they did, I believe, back in 2023, and I think there was another patch involving this back in 2021. But and this is around the time where we started to get a lot of the metals and stuff like that, and it started to become apparent that they look kind of funky in certain areas, like the desert and like interiors and such like that, because the game uses a system with cube maps to actually determine what it's reflecting on each object, and that's kind of like it's like a skybox that's around your character that is only visible to the reflections on your object. So um, typically the most performant way to handle this in a game that doesn't really need too much fidelity here is to just have a single cube map for each area that roughly represents the lighting of that area. So for the desert, it'd be something with like a sandy looking ground and a blue sky with like a sandy looking cloudy area in the middle.
And that's why in these screenshots previously you're getting kind of like a blue haloing effect on the armor.
Exactly. It results in there being way too much influence from the sky because it's not taking into account the objects that are actually like around you. So I know that they moved to a system where it kind of captures the cube map per tile around you. So that kind of updates as you're moving around. But it looks like here they're actually taking that a step further and actually doing some tweaks to the shaders and materials that actually kind of influences how things are colorized. So parts of the rendering look more correct in these more low light scenarios. So you don't get this like weird glossy outline around the character and such like that. And I could speculate all day about like what the individual actual fixes they did to do that is, but it probably boils down to just changing how their shaders actually handle the incoming cube maps, the textures on the character, and all that stuff to give you your output, which is just like your character sitting there with its materials looking all nice.
Because it is so apparent on the carrot.
Yeah, it is. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's just a great example about how the base level of the way RuneScape has rendered in the past handles an object that just has a mid level of roughness to it. So light kind of bounces off of it, like, as if it's like a somewhat glossy piece of
And
plastic,
this was the other thing you
Um,
told me on that to go to this example from this live stream a number of years ago, where they were
Yeah, so they have some
looking at
good
that.
examples here. This was them discussing this. So what you're looking at there, that's actually an example of roughness. So a roughness of 0 would be that completely glossy sphere, and a roughness of somewhere close to like maybe zero point 0.6 or zero point 0.7 would be that one that has more of a clay look to it. You see more light diffuses off of the one on the right, whereas it's more reflective on the one on the left. And what we're now seeing is a change in how RuneScape kind of handles these kind of differences that ultimately result in a nicer looking final image.
And another thing that they did mention at the top of this post that I wanted to get your opinion on with this is that they said that environments and aspects, there's that word again, aspects, of the player avatar can look like they're made of Play-Doh.
Yeah, so I think that actually that boils down to a couple things. First of all, any metallic elements in the environments have also suffered from this. So I remember when archaeology came out, things like barrels and railings and benches and a bunch of things like that around the world got updated to have actual metal elements to them where they aren't just flat color. It actually kind of takes in some light from its surroundings. And you could tell that things were not going right with that. Um, and I think the plasticky textures also kind of come down to the art direction of each asset. And actually, we saw a bit of a reduction of this when the Lumbridge and intro area graphical update came out with this whole road to restoration stuff. All the rocks around the world got more of like a texture to them, and same with a lot of the ground textures. And you can even see this in places like Demonheim and Arendar and places that didn't even really
We
get an
said they
actual
looked less
update.
Play-Doh-y with that.
It's because they added more texture to them. Like actually, like I'm standing here in a heist right now, and I'm noticing these rocks around me are kind of Play-Doh-y, but it's just simply because they don't really have too much texture to them other than the normal maps from like, the sculpt that the artist did on it.
Right.
So it looks like a lot of it is art direction, is what I'm saying. They're starting to lean more of the kind of gritty, partially realistic stylized kind of look instead of it just being kind of full stylized, leaning into this kind of sleek material look that it
I'm
was
going to go to the
attempting
archaeology
before.
guild so I can show off exactly what you were talking about with those metals on those objects.
Actually, right there at Wars,
Oh,
those rocks right there.
as
You
an
can see
example,
that you can see how textury all those rocks
like
are.
these ones, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a lot more texture to them than they did prior to
And see, I never noticed that until you
updates
pointed
from
that
Lumbridge.
out, that was the case. That
I think even the treasure chest there at Wars, like the little gold elements on it.
like the bank.
Mm-hmm. Yep, the little gold elements on that, those are actually like metallic.
Huh. I never noticed that.
And then, yeah, I know the railings and
Yeah.
like
I'm going to go to
trash
the
cans. We're not
archaeology
in a
guild
city
because
game, but
we got good examples
benches and
there
stuff there, yeah.
for that. And like this wasn't
And pretty
necessarily
much any of the newer areas.
talked about with the
Yeah.
road to restoration stuff, but I mean it's welcome, and I think it creates that depth to the game world that we've wanted for a while, but we didn't necessarily know how to realize that without making it like a World of Warcraft kind of looking game, which I don't think anybody wanted us to go that full direction. Whereas looking at this now, we are very clearly still in the RuneScape world, and I mean, if you imagined what, dare I say, the old school graphics from OSRS looked like, and if you scaled all this up, you would have that example. See, they fixed the problems here on the railings too that used to be here as well. Because I remember
those used to have that kind of bright blue kind of reflection going on to it, where it was the sky.
So effectively, what this update is going to be doing then is then fixing that for things like player armor sets and whatnot that we're
Yeah.
previously inheriting from the cube maps in the sky.
Yeah, I actually find it kind of interesting in that one video that you pulled up a bit ago. They showed that prior to investigating into this, there were only a handful of cube maps that the game actually used, depending on what location you were in.
I think it
And a
was
lot
like
of them
two or
were just
three, right?
mismatched. Yeah, and a lot of them were just mismatched from what the location should look like. And a lot of them were this one that it was like a black speckled sky with these brighter white spots on it, kind of almost like a galaxy-ish. But what it did was it gave your character this kind of flat look with these little specular highlights along the shoulders and more curved parts of the character. And it was just this very generic Lightroom kind of look.
So,
And I
if
could see how that would start to come out more as we get these different materials and it's starting to become an issue.
if
So
I go
it's interesting to
back,
see how this has progressed.
if I go back to this post here and we look at this screenshot in particular, in terms of how it's blue near the top of his head right now, and then
Mhm.
it tapers down to be more goldish at the ground, is that because that higher up in the sky, the cube map for the desert area is blue for the sky, but lower to the ground, it's orangey brownish for sand? Is that why it's kind of going based on that color skew
Yeah,
here?
yeah, and actually, if you look at more of the character's torso, you can actually see the cube map in the reflection right there. It even has like a couple buildings in it and such.
What?
Yeah,
Like right
like
where my mouse is pointing right now, or
The
slightly
brown
above it,
bits.
more middle torso,
Hmm. Just where the
right
brown
above
bit
that,
goes to
right above
blue.
the belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can kind of see buildings like reflected in his armor. It looks like Alcarid reflected in his armor is what it looks like. Yeah, right there. Your mouse is over right now.
huh? Whereas you can still see it on this side, but it's certainly not as pronounced.
Pronounced. Hmm.
So I think I'm reading here is it looked like they tweaked how like the roughness on each material on each different material is handled because this second one basically looks like they kind of cranked the roughness up a bit. So it's not as reflecty and it's as if more light's diffusing off the surface of his armor instead of reflecting.
You can even see it on the lock
So
on the
that's what I'm
chest.
saying. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like what they probably did with this boils down to a handful of tweaks to how their shaders handle different texture maps and other data in the game to actually create the final image of the characters and stuff. Which is good because I think they've needed basically, like, like a solid pass at this stuff to go in and kind of just polish it up and make it look good. Because, this is a game that has how many bajillions of different items, and each one of those has to have the right cube map assigned to
And
it.
they need to work with the
And
avatar rework whenever that arrives.
and I seriously cannot understate how new the kind of more metals and those more advanced kind of shaders are to a game like RuneScape. Like that's something that they're probably still figuring out that a lot of developers have already figured out like years and years and years ago.
Do you
But
think it's
RuneScape is now
because
finally hitting.
like NXT came out in
Go
2016?
on.
The non-Java rendering client is 10 years old as of I think this month actually.
God.
So obviously the idea behind it was to keep it looking like RuneScape, keep that parity between the Java client as to not, be too jarring for people, who are moving between one or the other. But over time they can start to work in, some of these more advanced features. I remember when we got the first point lights and how you were talking about those. Do you think that,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe it was just, a subtle acceptance that, now that everybody's on this client, we can effectively we can, just make some minor tweaks and nudges around around the game world to incorporate these features that we couldn't do before and make the game look more
Absolutely.
realistic.
And I think this entire new material system thing, whatever you want to call it, that we've gotten is the exact kind of example of the things that are unlocked by being on NXT, like having everyone on an NXT, because it's worthwhile for them to put development time into that. And personally, I think the new material stuff that we've had in game over the past 5 years, it's like the one thing that has kind of slowly worked its way into game quietly, but secretly has made just a massive impact on the game visually.
Yeah,
So
we
I
used
just
to
had to
see it
laugh
in
when you
like
said
Yak
NX.
Track cosmetics and whatnot. Now it's everywhere. Go ahead, Burn.
No, I was just going to say I had to have a laugh when you said NXT development because the development through NXT to get into Raw and SmackDown is very important.
Oh, is that wrestling?
Wrestling, yeah. It's just funny because they've got the NXT development group going, and just I've just been watching some of it, and when you said that, I just straight away popped into my head, getting Obafemi up there to take out Brock Lesnar and such. But anyway,
Is there
It's
anything
certainly
in
go
been
off on a
very interesting
tangent.
to
That's
see.
is there anything in the technical from what they wrote that you want to go over? They say this will likely roll out in May, and they're asking for feedback on this. But I mean, to the uneducated eye, I just think it looks better. I don't necessarily know
Yeah,
what
pretty
kind of
much.
feedback the
And they weren't
people would
super,
be
they didn't
giving.
really get too in depth with this. Like the post is basically, hey, here's what we're doing, here's the images.
And let's be
I
clear,
mean, it
this
doesn't
isn't
really go into,
something like the Unreal Engine. There's probably all sorts of weird bespoke things standing on one hand, kind of deals happening behind the scenes with this, right?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, we've got the little blurb at the end, which basically touches on what I was saying about tweaking the shaders and, things like that to improve how reflections and
For
such
the
looks.
people we haven't, I don't,
Um,
we should have said this at the start. For the people who are not involved in, graphics or computer gaming, what exactly is a shader?
a shader is basically a piece of programming that kind of determines what happens with light in your game based on your materials and whatnot. Um, so you have texture in your game, you have whatever way your game renders light, and your shader kind of takes all that and outputs pretty stuff. It's the simplest way I can put it, I guess.
Okay.
Ugh, look gooder.
But yeah,
Also, am I bad that I
we're,
can't
we're seeing
see?
we're seeing a lot of
Sorry.
we're seeing a lot of improvements to the way the shaders for RuneScape is working with this. And that is not a lot of times that is sort of like this broad kind of systematic improvements thing that we've been talking about. But I think another thing I've been trying to drive home with this is that it is oftentimes a lot of this specific material in this specific location looks this specific way, so we need something to kind of compensate for that or tweak how it works at a root level.
Right.
And with a game like RuneScape, I'd imagine there's a lot of, like you said, a lot of jank and a lot of weird special cases. Um, I can't imagine the puzzle it must be to actually like do something like this for this sort of old game. Like it's seriously like to me, being an environment artist and someone who doesn't have like the deepest understanding about how the actual graphics programming works, I know enough about it to talk about it and you do my own work with it in a way that actually kind of works with it in a way that is beneficial and looks kind of right. But it's been such an interesting thing to follow RuneScape and kind of watch how this has developed over
Like,
the
how would you
years.
fix this shadow? They say that, specifically the artifact around the eye, it's gone in between each of those. Like, how would you even go about diagnosing something like that in this graphics space?
That's an interesting one. I'm not even sure about that. That's just weird. Like I don't know. And I don't know, the characters have always been so low fidelity that I don't know. I've just
And they're
chalked
all
it up to
covered up with
weird shit
like
just
carrots and
happening with
everything
that.
here, right? So for a lot of people, it doesn't matter. But when you're doing the avatar rework, it kind of does. So
And that's another question I have about all this. Like, how's the Avatar rework functioning with all this stuff? I mean, imagine it's kind of probably all building on each other, I'd hope. But
maybe this was
I'm still wondering about like this that last character we have there with like the wings on there. That's a very dated looking character. And I know the way the character system works is, that's a whole ass torso applied to that character right there with that outfit. It's not just the little straps over the existing chest. No, the chest comes with the outfit. So it's like, what's going to happen with all these things that are,
that were bespoke like that,
not with
right?
this new?
Well, maybe
Is it just going to start looking weird to have older stuff on our character because our new character is just so high fidelity?
well, that's the thing. Like, you can't change like the old party hats to the old Santa hats. They might just, kind of just exist on this high fidelity character. So,
Or could you imagine if they did an update on the party hat look to do all that, the screaming that would go on?
yeah.
See, but something like the party hat, though, I don't think something like that necessarily needs to be updated. I mean, that's clearly like
It
a
can
silly
look
little hat
it
that's
can
on your.
look kind of it can look out of place because it's that item
It
from
blends
01.
in.
Yeah.
I mean, but it kind of blends in a certain way. Whereas putting on a fairy wing torso that comes with these super polygonal pecs, that doesn't look particularly great with this nice chiseled jawline guy that you have now. So I just wonder how they're going to handle that consistency. And is that just going to create more inconsistency in the visuals of our characters in this game overall? I mean, I've been thinking that for the longest time, that maybe this will for a while, and that's just something we're going to have to accept.
And I also
Because
think
it really
that,
does seem like they're ready to push us out the door. So.
while we're on the topic of avatar rework, I also think that there has been, in terms of communications about what to expect with this project, I feel like everybody's still in that 2021 frame for this about what to expect. And I don't feel like we have been updated enough to know exactly what we're going to be getting when that arrives. Which could be
when you're expecting.
Which could be,
I feel like that's why I keep
problem.
asking all these questions about like what's happening to all the other armor and such. Like, cool, we're getting an avatar rework, but like, how does that actually work with this game?
Yeah. No.
That's very unclear to me.
No, and I mean, maybe this is one step along that process, and then you can have pieces like this and the other maybe retro rune armors and whatnot that could come into that. So we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. But nonetheless,
Actually,
I think it looks a lot better than what we had.
We're definitely moving in a good direction, I think.
That brings up a good point, because they did sell a lot of those old retro armor packs and things. How they're going to look with the new rework.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to actually go into next this week. Unless you have anything else on this rendering project, Zat?
No, I think that's about it.
All right.
Other than insert thing here at the end, I want them to fix the fog.
Yeah, you've been constantly badgering about that, haven't you? About fog not being in the correct place.
Yeah.
But
but I think that is outside the scope of whatever they're doing right now. It sounds like just some shader work.
Yeah. All right.
What to expect when you're expecting.
Well, with that then, the marketplace was updated for an April drop, focused around what looks like Ivar's area here, including the Skullhide Stalker outfit. We have another new outfit here. It's not Sandwich Lady like last month. What do we think of this one?
Yeah,
looks a bit better.
I think
this
one's pretty cool.
Yeah,
this one's pretty cool.
Although,
it doesn't have any like glaring, standing out, stretched textures like the Sandwich Lady one did.
Yeah, but what do we think about the Indian chief headwear? Isn't that cultural appropriation?
Oh my god!
I went there.
Didn't think we were allowed to do that anymore.
I went there too.
Also, how much is this one? Let me see.
Oh no! As soon as I saw it, that's immediately what I thought. Oh, that looks like an Indian headdress. 990 rune coins for members and 1,100 for
It's
free
still
to play.
quite high. This outfit looks way better than the Sandwich Lady outfit, though. Like just looking at it in game right now, it's very high fidelity.
And there's the before the hunt.
Looks like something that would look good on the new characters.
Look at this resting GIF. That's not too bad.
Was he like starting a fire?
Yeah. Okay, so there's that. You can buy the resting animation just on its own if you wanted. right there for 225 rune coins as a member. But they also updated the stock this month in the marketplace to have the Corsair outfits, the Mariner outfits, and a bunch of Azure cosmetic overrides. So if you wanted a blue Dragon Breath, a blue Sunshine, a blue Death Swiftness, Hurricane, Berserk, Reprisal, or anything to that effect, you can pick those up now in the marketplace. I think Azure Swiftness is new because I don't think we had that one before, though I could be wrong on that.
I believe we did, but I think it got kind of changed because, like Death Swiftness got changed to be not the thing that gets plopped down.
Yeah, you move around. You move around with it, and they actually look they look quite good.
And I bought that one. I bought Azure Swiftness this week.
Okay,
I had some rune coins sitting around, so I was like, might as well.
The blessed abilities are back, as is the Zerosian pack for anybody who doesn't have that. If you want that. And the you can tell that they're going all the way back in time with these. The Monolith Teleport is here. The Monolith Teleport from one of the tracks that came out post-archaeology. So if you're interested in any of those, that's what April's cosmetic drop looks like there for that.
They did remove a few too.
Yeah, they did. And see, that's the thing. And that's why I think when these come up, we will highlight those out because they have removed the Gilded Rune Armor, the Assassin Walk, the Saber, Black Primal, Golden Magic Robes, and all Warped Overrides. So they will rotate out from time to time on that regard.
It did surprise me on the Black Primal because that's not that old, that one.
No.
I bought that one and it's only probably 6 or 8 months old.
I want the replica God Armors to come back. And I want them to add a Guthix one so I can have a green one.
Yep.
But I
like the rotation idea because it's there. I've got to grab it before it rotates out again.
When the replica ones come back, I will definitely be picking those up on the GIM for that. And while we're on that, we didn't mention the Solomon Store stuff when we were talking about the auras. Since we're on the topic of cosmetics here, anything that was in the loyalty shop for loyalty points that was a cosmetic, they will be available in the future, and they will be free to obtain and will not require any spending, they say. With that in mind, while you may feel like you've missed out on using your loyalty points, we want to assure you that is not the case. You'll still be able to obtain any cosmetics that you would have been able to spend loyalty points on. They're still looking into how to deliver these cosmetics because making them part of the free monthly marketplace items isn't an ideal solution, as we don't want you to have to wait for too long before the cosmetic you're finally keen on enters the cycle. They've been considering options here, and we'll share any updates on this as soon as they can via the regular Monday update posts. So,
unlike your auras that you might have had the points for and didn't get a chance to spend on, we'll give you the cosmetics for free.
Yeah, there were so many of them.
You still have to go do your 30,000 crux points.
I know lots of people who don't like farming who are going to have an issue with that. But hey,
how could you not like farming?
I know, that's what I've been saying.
Farming is fun for everyone.
I used to make fun of Shane like 10 years ago for being crazy into farming, but he kind of like looped me into it. So.
It's an enjoyable skill because it's different.
It's just kind of nice. Has happy vibes to it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I was saying, the player-owned farm has become kind of a daily in that regard. And I guess we can move into what we've been doing. But I alluded to it at the top of the show that I shut down the farm on the GIM because I got 119 farming, and I decided, I'm tired of doing dailies for this and dailies for the Easter egg hunt and dailies for daily challenges. So I'm going to shut down the farm, and I'm just going to do 119 to 120 farming in the conventional way. If we need any new products or produce from any of the animals, fine, we can do that. But we have several thousand of each of them now. From the ranch out of time, so that's not a big problem there. But That was a decision I made this week. But the other decision, folks might remember from last week, we did that mega long show. I'm sorry, everybody, that we did. I'm sorry that we did a 3-hour show, the longest show ever. Turned out to be.
We love it.
Well, it was about OSRS leagues.
That's the funniest thing. The longest show we've ever had was about OSRS.
But the league started. The league started yesterday.
We have to beat it.
And before we began, before I went to go eat, I just landed on tier 4 of my relics, and there have been some changes here. I was initially planning on going for Barbarian Gathering. Instead, I went for Endless Harvest. I kept the Woodsman, and tier 3 became Map of Alacrity. Tier 4 stayed at Transmutation, and we're swapping out the Wilderness for Tyrannin because I looked into the Wilderness stuff more. All the bosses I'd need to do in the Wilderness are at multi-way combat, and that opens up the chance for friendly fire from other people. And granted, it's not a PvP death, it's a PvM death. But
it's still a death by another player.
It's still a death, and the amount of tasks I knew I could do in the Elflands was higher, and the amount of 50 mil skills I could get there was higher as well. So I think for region number 2, it'll be Tyrannin. Region number 1 will be Kandarin as planned, and then we'll adjust the relics accordingly. Probably take Larcenist and reload into something else as we get through that. But overall, Varlamore has been an amazing starting region for the league. Haven't had to leave there yet. It has pretty much everything you could want for your starting experience there. So I'm eager to get back into it. Like I said last week, we'll probably take it for 3 or 4 weeks and see how we're feeling from that. But let us know what you want in terms of OS League updates from us, if anything at all in that case, because it is in part what I have been doing on RS this week. And I'll just say that it started yesterday, so the only real thing I can say that for me it's been a lot like the first few days in the RS3 League, where you're just running around getting a lot of the basic tasks done and getting to your relic tiers as you unlock them and unlocking the regions. But been having a good time with it up to this point. What about you, Pern, as the newest OSRS convert here in the first OS League?
Well, that's it. I mean, I was planning to split time, a few hours on this, a few hours on the GIMP account. Monday and Tuesday, I sent out a message. I was at 36 fortunate, so I got that up to 47 by Wednesday. Because I said if anyone wants something, with the fortunates, let me know. But then leagues hit, and I sort of got lost in it, and I've never been to Varlamore, and oh my God, what an area! If you haven't experienced it, as an RS3 player, go over there, have a look. I would love to see this on RS3. It has so much, and I will just say, anyone who says that that RS3 is the AFK game, is EasyScape. Things like the Gemstone Crab and all that over here, I'm sorry. They have it so much easier over here with these type of things at Varlamore. But yeah, as I said to Shane last night, I was just sort of working my way through, and I thought I was planning to go to bed at 11:30. I looked down at my clock and it was 1:46 a.m. I'm just getting lost in the game. It is really, really fun, and just working out. But as I said, because I haven't been here before, just working out the different things, where everything is. I also changed my first relic. I did end up going endless for the simple fact it was just when I remembered just how hard it is competing for mining rocks and trees and things when there's other players around, it just made it so much easier.
Yeah, because what endless lets you do is just click on one rock, one tree, one fishing spot, and you will stay there until you're until you
And
log out.
that's it. And even the fishing spots. I mean, you when it swaps spot, your character just runs to where it respawns. The only issue with that is things like harpoon and cage fishing. It will always take the top one, which was cage fishing, which was a bit frustrating at the start. But again, once I hit my sort of 100, the things I needed for the tasks, catch 100 swordfish, catch 100 tuna, etc. It was nice and simple. So cage fishing for the lobsters seems to be the best XP anyway compared to the others. So
what did you end up taking for tier 2?
Tier 2, I still went Shorefoot. Sorry, Hotfoot, whichever one that was called.
Yeah, Hotfoot.
Yeah, that was my godsend because I just could not get any money. Running around, I hit 52 agility very quickly, and then basically running down to the worm agility course. Every 2 or 3 cycles, you get termites, which automatically gives you 10k coins. So with that, I was able to sort of get my better pickaxe, get my better, get a staff of air and things like that. Because I tell you what, pickpocketing people for 2 or 3 GP at a time to try and get that stuff was
best
painful.
early moneymaker in Varlamore is on Alderan, the gem shop. You just go there, buy your first few sapphires, and then after that you can snowball that all the way up to rubies, sell them back one by one, and I got to level 65 crafting doing that, and I had 450k GP.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just cut the gems and sell them back to him one at a time?
But you got to sell them back one at a time.
Yeah. Don't sell in bulk because they... Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is really weird for me the way that happens, but yeah.
What are you going to do for regions? Are you still keeping that the same, or
at this stage still the same?
Which were
Corend next. I think it was Kandarin I went. The one that's the non because I think Asgarnia was more PVM.
Yeah, that's Kandarin.
So Asgarnia, Kandarin, and then Taranwin is definitely my final.
Okay.
Just because I haven't seen it on this game either, so yeah.
So, yeah, you could also do... sorry, I was just getting confused there. Did you say Corend or Kandarin?
Corend is my next one,
okay.
Then Kandarin,
okay.
Then Taranwin. Yeah.
Okay, so no Asgarnia, got it. Yeah, no that should be a good setup then for that. Like we said, you can take Varlamore and Corend and have a full game experience pretty much.
Yeah. The only thing I was thinking is, because I was sort of going to go a magic build, but without the desert and ancient magics and things, I'm not sure if that is my best way now.
Yeah,
so
if you don't have Kandarin, maybe not. But that's the best thing about this skill tree is that you can effectively choose your regions here. And you will have a build that will work, that you can work into, that will do the mid level and start touching high level PVM stuff.
Well, I've got 4 demon pack points, but I've only spent the middle one, and I haven't done anything else because I still don't understand it. So
yeah, it's best not to spend them because you get respecs by killing the echo bosses, and the echo bosses are more difficult. So there is a collection of players out there who may indeed soft lock themselves out from being able to have anything done inside that demon pack system if they're not able to kill an echo boss. So you got to be really careful with that. Good one, Sam.
Yeah, well, as I said, I don't really understand them, and it's probably not something I need to worry about until I get into the sort of higher level PVM anyway. So I'm just letting them build up, and when we have a chat later on about it, we'll work it out.
Yeah, that's a good point to be at, and I'm looking forward to getting back to it.
And also. Last week when you and Sirion were laughing at me for not using RuneLight, saying I was playing hard mode. God damn, boy, you were right.
That was funny.
RuneLite is, I mean, it's not RuneLite. It is like Mega RuneScape. It just, what it offers is amazing. And
Just wait until you try Quest Helper.
No.
You have to try it at least for one quest to know how
you're
people
playing
use
for
it.
Dark Arts now.
Yeah, it's like when you got me onto that bloody the cheating thing for what's it called, which I started doing for just a race through on clues.
Oh yeah,
That's not nice. Alt 1, that's the one. Alt 1. I won't use it again, but I did use it during the what's it called, to do the puzzles, our leagues when we had an RS3, and yeah, I felt dirty afterwards.
Wash your hands after you do that.
That's it.
All right. Well, we'll definitely keep that in mind for that. So
also, my tier 3.
Yes. You said you were going to go map.
Yeah, I went map of Alacrity.
Yep.
So I still went that way, but I sort of think Bank Heist would have been better for me. I think it allows me to get to more regions easier. But again, I am only on Valamore at the moment, so maybe when I open up the other regions, it will be better. But it doesn't have as many areas. It's good to get to things like Gemstone Crab and all that type of stuff. So it's still sort of. I went that way, and I'm still happy with it, but I'm still wondering if Bank Heist would have been a better option for me.
Yeah, I mean, it might. I don't know. The thing is that there's no wrong choice.
I don't think there's a wrong choice. Yeah.
Is that it's just so subjective. Tier 1 and Tier 2 are just about how you want to play the game, in my view. If you want to, have an accelerant in there somewhere with Woodsman, or if you want the AFK option, or lean forward gathering, and then when you get to tiers 4, 5, and 6, then that's really where you start getting your solves. For
tier
skills.
4, I've got transmutation, but I've been looking at Butler's Bell and just things for like herb gathering and such like that. I don't know if that's going to be, for my style, maybe a better way, because he just collects herbs for you. Even when you're offline and things like that. But I'm still what am I? 870 points till my next relic, so I've got time to think about it and investigate it properly. But
yeah, and like we said, if there's anybody else doing OSRS leagues and you're wondering about this, ask in the Friends chat, ask in our Discord, or ask in the Clan Quest Discord as well. There's lots of people there who can help with that if anybody has any clarifications. But all right, Zant, how has the PVM been going?
It's been going good. I'm really enjoying the new ranged. It's been very fun. I've just been doing some Reapers and stuff, so nothing too serious. And I keep if every time I get Reaper's Choice, I always pick a ED2 or Nex, mostly because I'm just dying to finish up the ED2 log, because I just need the pet for that. And then with Nex, I'm kind of just hoping to get some stuff that I can just use for Masterwork Ranged, and also I just like Nex.
Right.
But yeah, I'm kind of just tearing these things up now. Like, new ranged is really fun, whereas I feel like before I was like struggling to pump out as much damage. But I'm getting like 45-second records up to like a minute records at certain bosses.
Jesus.
And that's the thing I think that we need to hone in on with this, is that I feel like ranged, before was one of the more complicated combat styles you could do. No ifs, ands, or buts with that. I think that the floor to entry has been greatly lowered with that, which is great. And I also wanted to mention, you were talking about gathering for the Masterwork Ranged set. And I'm thinking, and I wasn't going to build the Masterwork Ranged armor, but I think I'm going to now, because we have always talked about how range needs sustain, and I think the Masterwork Ranged is just a good complementing option on top of other things that have been there. So you're probably making the right call for going for the Masterwork Range set and just doing a bunch of ranged PVM there.
Yeah, and I was seriously debating on whether it's worthwhile to do that for me or not, because I have Dracolich, like a full set of just the non-tier 92, just the tier 90 set. But just functionally, it sounds really nice to have something like the Masterwork Range just to make me more tanky, which would probably help with learning bosses that I haven't done yet. So that's what my hope is to have that option there. You know, kind of something that's kind of Crypt Bloom-ish for ranged, if you will, you know.
Yeah. So what weapon are you working with exactly? Because you're not on a bulg, right?
I'm not. That's what I'm currently saving for. I have a Masterwork bow currently.
Yeah,
I
that's
got
more than
that
enough.
not long ago. I used to just kind of rock the Saren bow, but I put that in an EOF and bought the Masterwork bow, which I really like the setup.
That's such a
It's great
tough
fun.
choice to do because you
What
never get
arrows
that
do you
bow
use with it?
back.
I use full arrows a lot, but since I do a lot of ED2, oftentimes I end up just using the Jas Dragonbane arrows. But yeah, full arrows are pretty good. I'm
Okay.
honestly probably I know nothing. The arrows are what confused me about ranged.
Yeah,
Um,
because
like
I made a Masterwork bow and I didn't find it that great, but I was only using the basic arrows, not the god arrows. So I was wondering. So it sounds like it works a lot better with the god arrows.
yeah, I specifically got the Masterwork bow because I wanted to put my Saren bow into an EOF and not completely change the entire setup. So I did that, and it's been great fun. I got another EOF that has a dark bow, and I kind of just swap back and forth between those two.
Okay,
Um, and then the Masterwork bow is basically just placeholder until I get Bow the Last Guardian eventually.
cool.
And then
So
with that
yeah,
you're getting close to having the full range setup because we're still missing tier 95
So
ranged armor with that.
just
yeah,
a,
I can't imagine what having a bulge is going to feel like. I feel like with this update, I'm already kind of tearing stuff up with the setup I currently have.
I was gonna say
But I
because
don't.
Masterwork bow was a tier 100, right?
99, I believe.
99. Okay, and what's the bow of Last Guardian? Isn't that a 95?
It's
95, but you
it's
can upgrade to
95, but
100.
you can, yeah, you can upgrade it as well with
Okay.
the Genesis Essence.
Okay, and how much better is that supposed to be than the Masterwork? Or is it only that because you can
Well, if
augment
you
it?
can manage the passive of the
It's
bulg
the ability
and
and the spec. Yeah.
it is phenomenal. But you need to
Okay.
kind of know what you're doing with that, and there's a little bit of micro involved. And from the way Bears describes it, you can either do a little bit of micromanaging of it, or you can go fully lean in, and then you can get amazing effects popping off of things like Wen arrows and whatnot. But I know that even for the PVM that he does when he uses ranged, he doesn't go that far in. But the bulg is still a
Okay.
step up in that regard. So
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I like the Masterwork bow. It's pretty fun. It gets the job done.
Hmm.
And I feel like when
Like,
this,
I don't know what else I'd be using. What else would you be using in kind of my sort of range if I
it would
have
be
EOF to my Saren bow?
you are using the right weapon because the only choices in that
Yeah.
case are Masterwork or bulg. Crossbows really don't factor in that much. So
Yeah, and what other bow is there in
There's
that
not.
tier?
there's not.
No.
Saren, other than the Saren bow, which I threw into a necklace. So.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You remember on Leagues when you were trying to get the Nox bow?
Gosh, that pissed. No, we're not going there. That was bad. I never expected
think
that to be
did you
how I
get it
burned
in
out
the
on
end?
Leagues. No, I didn't.
You quit
I
before
was
he got
stuck on the I was stuck on the web piece. I had I could make each other Nox weapon like twice, I think, and one of them like 3 times. But and it was one of those things where I was starting to get paranoid about, do I want to go into this with like ranged combat style? So, I'm forcing it to be this combat style, so that it has this higher chance of dropping this thing, and then I thought I was doing the right thing by doing that, and people are starting to talk to me. It's like,
I
no,
think it
bro,
was
you don't want to
broken.
do that. You're actually ruining your chances. And that's what people were starting to think, is that it's just broken. But I don't know. I don't subscribe to that. I think I just actually have garbage luck. Because yeah, I don't know. It was bad. But yeah, my RS3 Leagues experience, I attempted to do ranged, which I honestly didn't really hate that much. Um, until I had to do racks, which it became terrible because the splash damage you had from every hit that you couldn't turn off at racks just was so awfully annoying. Because if you have that mirror back spider around, you're just
Oh,
attacking anything, you're just damaging yourself like fucking crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, I had
So,
a
and then I guess I was very underpowered compared to everyone else, but I mean,
while back. I had a Rax Reaper, and I just said, screw this. While the mirror back is up, I'm too lazy to be watching for that thing, and because I killed myself a few times with that. But anyways,
I can't stand racks anymore after leagues. Like I got one as a Reaper test recently, and I just canceled it for the Slayer points. I just no Spooter, no.
No, thank you.
We had enough. I mean, to be fair, during leagues, I probably did like no more than like 70 KC. But with leagues drop rates
it should have
and
been
the fact
enough.
that I had
That's
basically
bad.
one of every other drop, it was just insane.
Yeah, that is cruel.
Well, anything else, Ant?
Um, Not really.
Alrighty.
Doing a couple heists, I guess. Yeah.
Good luck. Good luck. That's still one of the best non-combat moneymakers in game.
Yeah, my account tends to disagree.
All right. Well, we do have a few achievements this week. We have Shantae You Stay with 120 Archaeology on the 14th, Iron VSS with 99 Dungeoneering on the 13th, Rhino with 200 Mil Prayer on the 13th, Ormean with 99 Hunter on the 12th, and Stinky Pete 22 with 120 Archaeology on the 12th. Then in our other achievements, we had Juan Peru with the Twisted Antler and Hellweird log complete at 1277 kill count. How is that for Hellweird, Pern? 1277 for logging.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Okay. And Snail Mage completed his Wyvern crossbow, who had been continually grinding and extending Wyverns just to get that crossbow.
How did he tell you how many kills?
No, I don't think he did. I don't think that was in the achievements channel for that.
That's one I'm still chasing, and God, that's a pain.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Alrighty. We are going to go into pick of the week right now, and this week's pick is a website called Brilliant Maps. And, you can map anything, and that's what this website sets out to do. Pardon the ads on the website. Probably want to use an ad blocker there. The one that I have here up right now is the most Googled pie during holiday season 2024 in the United States. It is pumpkin pie, except for in Massachusetts and this tiny state here. That is either Rhode Island or Delaware. I should know that.
That's Massachusetts.
No, that's Massachusetts, but there's a little red one down here as well next to Connecticut.
Yeah, that's Rhode Island.
Okay, that's Rhode Island.
Too small and zoom.
All right, fair enough. And then in Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana, pecan pie was the most Googled one. Everywhere else was pumpkin.
Interesting.
A couple of the other ones that we have up here, number of data centers by country. I don't know why you'd want to know this, but it's just the number of data centers that each country claims to host here, with the U.S. being the highest.
Are we surprised?
Australia hosting about 270, Canada 286. Interestingly enough, in that regard, and there's a bit of a just a general background around some of these maps as well, with including the raw data that was associated with them. And then a more recent one, as of the beginning of April, U.S. states and Canadian provinces where Good Friday is a holiday. As you can see, it's a holiday across Canada, and a handful of U.S. states, but in many places it is just straight up not a
That's
holiday.
weird.
What? It's not a it's not a holiday in Virginia. What?
It's a holiday here in Australia too. That
My life has
shocks me.
been a lie. Like, what is this?
Considering how religious, a lot of the American people are, it shocks me that it's not a holiday.
Why is Texas the only state where it's optional?
Yeah, I don't care.
You know how Texas is with business. What else do we got here? When U.S. states become states relative to other countries in terms of just showing how old some of the U.S. states are, and in particular what monarch was reigning when some of the states were made states in the U.S. You can see a good portion of them came in during George III and Queen Victoria there for that. But these are just the kind of things you can find on this website here. To kind of just paint a bit of an interesting picture about the way data can be presented. The spread of Christianity between the year 33 and 2000 AD. For anybody who's interested in that, and you can see that around Easter they did kind of skew towards the holidays that were being discussed there. Map of Easter Island and whatnot. In that regard, and the guy who does this website has 152 pages of various maps and whatnot here. So, describing the Balkans between the First Balkan War, the Second Balkan War, and then alliances in World War I. So many interesting things in relation to that you can find with there. Another timely one, range of Iranian missiles, with what's been going on over there. So yeah, I
found a super important one: the ratio of number of Costco's to number of Sam's Clubs in each state.
Oh yeah, I saw that one. We don't have Costco's in Canada.
Oh, poor you.
We don't have Sam's Clubs in Canada.
Costco is great.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad you have Costco. Costco's great.
But I assume Sam's is just like a similar thing, but slightly different.
Yeah, it's Costco, but Walmart.
Got it. Okay.
It's owned by the same company as Walmart. But yeah, it's effectively the same thing. I think Costco's a bit better deals, though. I think that's very subjective, but people seem to like Costco more.
I typed in Australia, and there is one of the 24 states of Australia if statehood proposal had succeeded.
Okay.
So we've gone from 6 states to 24 states.
Oh, here's one.
Apparently,
how often is your country mentioned in the Epstein files?
Oh, God. Australia would have a few.
But yeah, and I don't know. I always find these kind of maps like that interesting. What you see is what you get on here, and you can kind of just scroll through it and have a look. Here, okay, we'll end with this one: the average wake up time of Europeans, broken out based on country in terms of the surveys that were taken. So there we have it, brilliantmaps.com. That's the pick of the week. But I don't think I have anything else this week. Anybody else have any maps, any other RS things, any leagues things? What are we thinking here?
No.
Nope.
I think overall
having a lot more fun.
I think overall we'll settle into aspects as we get there. It's just a question of,
oh, of course,
what will be adjusted along the way, and hopefully the discussion we had on this thread will be useful to somebody out there. But that's pretty much it for this episode of Update. If you want the podcast delivered automatically to you, subscribe over at update.show. We're on all the major podcast listening services out there: Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Spotify, and more. And of course, YouTube as well, youtube.com/RSBANDB. Do like and subscribe. If you watch on YouTube, comment as well. Any kind of engagement helps out the channel, and we know how that works on YouTube, because we always try and bring you the news directly without too much sensationalism, without too much YouTube hype. So it's difficult to cut through the noise sometimes. So we appreciate any positive signal you guys have for us if you like the show in that regard. Thank you, Zan. Thank you. For once, it's not me sneezing on this show.
Ouch has been insane recently.
Oh God, yeah, they got me last weekend on 2 weeks ago on Saturday. It was good we weren't doing a show that day. It just was completely blocked up here. But nonetheless, good having you on, Zant. Always nice to talk graphics and hearing what you've been up to. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Of course, for people who don't know, Zant made the wonderful Legends Guild for the Patreon members that took the internet by storm, and you might be working on something else right now, right?
Potentially.
In that regard, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Always great having you. Thanks so much. And of course, Pern, everyone's second favorite Australian. Glad to see you're liking US leagues.
Yeah, having a lot of fun, and thank you for having me once again.
Indeed. And with that being said, we'll be back next week for another episode of RSBANDB Update. See you then, everyone. Take care.